In my Star Wars ranking video, I placed The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker right at the bottom of the list. They are by far the worst movies in the trilogy, and it's no stretch to say they are some of the worst written movies you'll ever watch. They're messy, their plot lines are disjointed, and you can tell they were directed by two different people just by the style of the movies. Well, since I've done a rewrite for The Force Awakens, I decided that the next logical step is the rewrite for The Last Jedi, and there'll be a few minor things that I'm going to mention. Now, as I mentioned in the first video, Palpatine will not return in this trilogy at all. It will be replaced by someone else, still to come, but so far he will not be in it. A couple minor things that are going to be changed in this rewrite. The lightspeed attack done by Holdo to destroy the Supremacy does not happen, and the hyperspace tracking incident doesn't happen. I will explain what happens in their place, but just so it's clear, those are two events that I've taken out. Basically because they're both stupid. And with that, we can dive right into the rewrite. I'd started off with this title crawl: War strikes the New Republic. Starkiller Base is in ruins. The First Order is desperate, pushing the New Republic to its limits. In a Hail Mary, the First Order launches a surprise attack on the Republic's main war base, led by the Supremacy, a warship stronger than anything the Republic has seen. Two intrepid Jedi have journeyed to Ahch-To, the site of an ancient Jedi temple, guarded by the long-missing hero of the Republic, Luke Skywalker, hoping to find the ability to turn the war in their favor and bring an end to the scourge of the Sith. Darth Mordred continues his charge on the Republic, searching for answers, fueled by mysterious visions and a newfound doubt in his Sith master. Right off the bat, these are a few changes that are happening. The Jedi that have gone to Ahch-To are obviously Finn and Rey, both this time. Ahch-To is the same planet as in the first movie, in the first original trilogy that was made, but it is still the very first Jedi temple. I've just made it a bit more important, that the fact that people want to find the temple, not Luke Skywalker. He's there defending it. And so we start with the first scene. The Republic army is busy fighting the First Order out in outer space, and the First Order has launched an all-out surprise attack on the Republic army. The Republic army basically consists of Leia's main army and her squadrons around her. The attacking force is hundreds of small ships, a couple of dreadnoughts, and the Supremacy. It's heavily emphasized within this scene that the Supremacy's shields are way stronger than anything the Republic has seen. They're shooting at it, they're throwing everything they've got at it, it's doing nothing. And there's heavy losses. The Republic's actually being beat in this fight. Quite a bit of destruction. We are reintroduced to Poe, because Poe is now a general, leading a squadron of his own. In a desperate attempt to help the Republic escape to regroup, he leads basically a suicide mission with his squadron to destroy a dreadnought that's blocking their escape. He survives and the dreadnought is destroyed, but a lot of his squad is lost. He butts heads with his superior, Admiral Holdo, over this, and the Republic retreats to Crate, one of the closer war bases, to regroup and plan what to do next. We're not going to have the part where they jump to hyperspace and are tracked through hyperspace. They're going directly to Crate, and that's going to basically be it for that scene. We would jump back to Rey and Finn meeting Luke at the Jedi Archive. We find out that this is Ahch-To, which he explains, the site of the first Jedi temple and its oldest knowledge. This being the case, it's also a strong source of the Force. So any Jedi or Sith coming here to train is going to end up a lot stronger than your regular Jedi or Sith. They speak to Luke about Darth Mordred, and he knows it's Ben Solo, his former student. They want him to return to help the Republic, but Luke refuses. He found Ahch-To a decade ago and came here to guard it. If a Sith found it, it could mean the end of the Jedi. That's why this planet is so important, and it's so important that Ben doesn't find this planet. In exchange for coming there and telling him, he does offer to train Rey and Finn. Rey keeps Vader's lightsaber hidden for now, and Luke gives them two blue lightsabers left by older Jedi. So it's not too serious, but she's keeping the fact that she has Darth Vader's lightsaber with her secret. Luke does sense a disturbance in the Force when he gets close to Rey, which unsettles him, but we don't emphasize more on that yet. Heading back to Crate, we see the Republic discussing what to do next. The supremacy is brought up and they have a discussion over it since it seems indestructible, that they have no idea how to breach its shield. Poe suggests a codebreaker on Canto Blight. Fuck, my own handwriting. He suggests a codebreaker on Canto Blight, and the Republic already is still a bit put off by Poe with what he did to help them escape, and they say hunting this codebreaker down is a bit too risky. So Poe, in anger, leaves on his own without telling anyone. That's just going to be the Canto Blight scene. Then we jump to Darth Mordred. We finally see his master, which is Lord Snoke. Powerful Sith. On the throne, it'll still be the same Snoke. He berates Mordred for Starkiller's failure and the Republic army's escape, and he is ordered to meet Snoke at Crate for the assault. So from here, they're going to split up. I'm not quite sure why yet, but they're not traveling together because obviously Mordred has his own ship. Snoke's heading there. After the meeting, Ben finally shows a bit more emotion, shows some anger because he sees Snoke as inferior. Snoke doesn't use a lightsaber, so he's very similar to Palpatine in that manner. While Ben is meditating after this, we hear a strange voice whispering to him, telling him that Snoke is weaker than he is, that he doesn't need Snoke. The strange voice is a hint for what comes later. Now back on Ahch-To, Rey and Finn are continuing to train. Rey starts to have nightmares of Ben, and she's seeing a shadowy figure whenever she has her visions. She gets visions of the power of the dark side, how much stronger it can make her, what she's destined to do. And we finally see what happened with Ben, through Luke, of course. Ben was having similar dreams of total conquest taking over the galaxy, and he became obsessed with an archive on Ahch-To. Obviously, he didn't know its location, but he found it in the Jedi archives, details on the planet, and he wanted to find an answer to his visions that were telling him to seek out this planet. Luke figured out what he was doing, his interest, and Luke managed to find the planet first. Ben turned to the dark side after finding out, and Luke was able to defeat him, leaving him behind and going to go guard the archive, taking the only map and splitting it in half, Eventually one half would come into the property of Poe, the other half would have been in R2-D2. While they're training, Rey meditates more and discovers that she has a link to Ben. He tries to sway her against Luke. They begin to talk. He mentions her visions, and he tells her the truth of what happened between him and Luke. So that's how we find out. And she starts to fall to the dark side. It's gradual at first, but it will come to a boil later in this movie. We'll have a short scene where Ben is doing research at his base and finds a file on Rey. He's shocked to see what's inside, but we don't learn anything more than that. Now for Canto Blight. Canto Blight. Should have been Canto Blight. Stupid name. Anyway, Poe goes to the planet on his own. Again, Rose is not in this at all. It's just Poe. He meets the Codebreaker, but the Codebreaker obviously betrays him, and he's barely able to escape alive. The Codebreaker reports back to the First Order, and they see this as a sign of the Republic's weakness, desperation, and decide to launch their attack on Crate immediately. When Poe returns, he's faced with this huge battle above Crate. He sees how desperate it is, and he's told that the leader of the Order and Mordred are now already on the ground, while the Supremacy is guarding up ahead. The Supremacy is preventing troops from getting to the planet, taking them out in droves, and Poe meets with Holdo on her flagship. He gets her approval to take control of the ship for one last desperate measure, and he flies the ship directly into the Supremacy. No need for the light speed jump or whatever. He just flies this massive ship into the Supremacy and shatters right through its shield. Cuts a hole in the side of that giant ship and destroys it. Poe loses his life in the progress. He does not survive this, and this is the end of the story. We just see that Holdo is able to make it to the surface along with the reinforcement and meets with Leia, preparing for the ground fight. I think it's much better to do it this way. We don't need some ass pull of the light speed jumping or whatever. It's just a noble sacrifice and it works. We'd go back to Act 2, and upon this happening, Finn would sense a disturbance in the Force. He's also become stronger, but he's stronger in the light side. He's more attuned to it. And he tells Luke that they need to leave to help the Republic. Luke agrees, having also felt that same ripple, and allows them to leave. But as they go, he gets a vision of Rey turning to the dark side, wearing the black cloak and everything. He panics a bit after they've left and decides to go after them in his ship, leaving Ahch-To behind. Maybe we could have a scene where he sees the spirit of Yoda telling him that he needs to protect the Jedi that he's now trained, rather than protecting these old books, you know? But Ahch-To wouldn't be destroyed, not burnt down or anything, and he would follow them in his ship. Now we'd have the big battle of the movie be the Battle of Crait. Finn and Rey would arrive to help while the battle's ongoing on the surface. On Crait, Rey is confronted through the Force by Ben, and he corners her when she goes into like a supply room or something, through the Force, but not in person. And he reveals why the First Order wants her. We don't see exactly why it is, but it shocks her, and she disappears after this. Finn is left to help the people alone, and he's helping the non-combatants escape through the back of the base, using the Force impressively, the same way we saw Rey lift all the rocks originally. This would be Finn doing it this time. I think it works better with him being a light side user and more attuned to it, gives him a bit more growth. Not long after, Luke would arrive and reunite with Leia. He asks where Rey is, and he's told that she's missing. So he decides to take it into his own hands, and he contacts Ben himself, Darth Mordred, telling him to fight him one-on-one to finally end this. Mordred consults Snoke, but Snoke orders Ben to take to battle and go kill Luke. They meet in the middle of the battlefield, basically a bit of a short ceasefire while they fight. They fight, and Ben fights very well, but starts to lose his nerve. Luke has the upper hand. He seems like he's going to kill Darth Mordred, even though it's regretfully, but he's suddenly hit by a force lightning from behind. We hear a sound of a lightsaber being ignited, red on red. Ben and now Rey holding Vader's lightsaber. Luke is shocked, but he knows he has to still try and fight. He fights them both, but is eventually overwhelmed, and he is killed by the two of them. He dies with a vision of the future, smiling, knowing that their redemption isn't set in stone. Their fall to the dark side isn't set. And that's how we end Luke. Yes, his death is still something I'm not happy with in the original movie, but I feel like if it was done well, it would have been received way better. If they didn't make his character such an arsehole and completely destroy it, then his death would have been received a lot better. After this, Ben would take Rey to Snoke's ship. Snoke would praise Ben, but is shocked when Ben turns on him and kills him, declaring that he and Rey will rule the galaxy on their own together. Here we have a flashback to their earlier conversation when he cornered Rey. He revealed that Rey is the granddaughter of Sheev Palpatine. Her parents were killed 2 decades ago on a failed attack on Coruscant when they tried to kill Luke. He defended himself and killed them. This is what turns Rey fully to the dark side, realizing that Luke actually killed her parents and she's now gotten revenge for them. Finn would be able to sense Luke's death while he's helping the people escape, and he'd sense Rey's fall to the dark side. After the Battle of Crait, he would lead the Republic remnants to Ahch-To. They have no plan on what to do. And the title of this movie would remain The Last Jedi, because in this case, Finn is the Last Jedi. Rey has turned to the dark side, and there's pretty much no hope. Now, the final shot of the film would be Ben sitting on Snoke's throne with Rey by his side. And he has another vision. This one's far stronger than before. The voice would tell him to come to Exegol, declaring that it's finally time that they met. Now, I would probably have it that the earlier flashback where Ben becomes obsessed with Ahch-To, we see a bit more of this mysterious voice, but we don't know who it is yet. I can tell you that it's not Palpatine, and I have decided who it's going to be. So, if you're a fan of Star Wars, you can take a guess and see who I might have now as this mysterious figure. It is a canon character, and it's an older character than Palpatine. It's only him I'll give. Other than that, that's how I'd rewrite The Last Jedi. The Rise of Skywalker will come next, and I'm not quite sure how I'm going to plan that movie out, but I already have a few ideas. Let me know what you think of the rewrite. I know it's probably a bit sloppy like the original movie, but I think it still comes across better than The Last Jedi did, which isn't a very low bar to be fair. And if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, leave a comment if you have any tips or anything, any input you'd like to give. And please subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye bye.